It's Saturday, December 21st. We are 4 days away from Christmas. Unbelievable. And about 9 days, 10 days away from the end of the year. And Luis Alvarez joins us once again, our tech expert here on KION. Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I know. It's the final days. I have to go out there and pick up one more gift that I have to take care of this weekend, and I'm dreading going out to the stores. But, I'm going to go early.
I haven't even done my regular shopping yet. I still have to do it.
Oh, yeah. Then there's that. We have family coming for the holidays. My daughter and her family usually come down from Sacramento for a few days. And so we, make a couple of dinners and probably go out to dinner one night. But now we have to get out there to Safeway and Nob Hill and Star Market and get all that stuff.
And the boat is safely tied up in the marina. So no boating this weekend?
No boating this weekend. Just taking care of all the preps before the daughter and her family show up next week.
One of the recurring themes that we talk about on these segments has always been about people protecting themselves from scams. Coming up on Monday, we're going to talk about avoiding a particular phishing scam, smishing scam that is coming up, and a lot of people have been victimized by, and this one is going to be about PayPal. We'll talk more about that later on. But the other thing that we want to talk about today is that the federal government is issuing yet another warning about texting dangers, and now they're telling us, quite frankly, there's some good reasons to actually not use two-factor authentication. And that's something that many of us have started doing. As a matter of course, is this two-factor authentication.
Mm-hmm.
And first off, before we jump into this, explain exactly what two-factor authentication is and how it works.
Sure. So two-factor authentication is exactly that. When you log into some account, the first factor is usually your password. So you put in your email address and your password, and a second factor ensures a little bit more security or a lot more security depending on what that second factor is. And in many cases, if you use an online service like Amazon does this as well as Meta, one of the factors that you can select, one of the second factors is a text that is sent to you with a special code that you type into the screen after you put in your password. So the problem is now, ever since the telecom system in the United States got hacked by a Chinese group called Salt Typhoon, these network breaches have exposed our back-end system, including the back-end system that's used by cell phone companies to send texts to hackers. And they can intercept a lot of these passwords, especially if they're sent via texting, because typically they're not encrypted.
Wow. Okay. So, for example, if I get an email from my medical care and they say, hey, there's a new post-appointment report for you to read, and they use two-factor authentication, there's a very good possibility that when they send me that 6-digit code, it could be hijacked by someone and replaced with a different code, or what would the danger be?
So the real-world example is, let's say the hackers target you, Mark Carbonaro, and they know that they have your email address, they have figured out your password, let's say to your Amazon account or to your bank account. But what they can't do is get that text previously, because that would just go to your phone. But now they have the ability to intercept that number, so they can try to log in as you. That text is sent. They do it in the middle of the night when you're not looking at your phone, so you don't even see it arrive. But they get it at the same time, and they can enter that code and break into your account, unbeknownst to you. And so that's the big danger. And especially if you use a lot of these services out there that require or use two-factor authentication that is texting based. So what this advisory recommends is that if the system you're logging into, whether it's Amazon or Walmart or some other service, if they offer the alternative of using an app like Google Authenticator that generates its own codes, to choose that second factor authentication methodology rather than using texting, because it's going to be safer.
Okay. And is there any other encrypted messaging that you can use if you don't use the Google Authenticator?
There's other apps that do the same thing. It depends on the service. I know Meta, for example, will let you use pretty much any other two-factor authentication app like Duo or Microsoft Authenticator. All of these apps are free of charge, so they don't cost you anything. They're fairly easy to use. You usually, when you set it up, you scan a QR code, then that sets it up for your phone. The only downside to having any two-factor authentication going to your phone is you always have to have your phone with you wherever you go. Basically, we've all gotten used to having to have carry our mobile devices wherever we go so that we can get these codes or have access to our authenticator app. But authenticator apps are going to be a much safer thing to use until we get into some new services that are coming out soon that will use something called a passkey instead of using a two-factor authentication code that basically is an app that's embedded onto your phone, similar to an authenticator app, but it's safer and generates it's a, like a 30-digit or 40-digit code that you don't have to enter. You just have to be near your phone to press to accept the code.
Well, what about upgrading all texting services, that our cellular providers have so that everything sent via text is automatically encrypted?
That's where they're going to. There's a technology called RCS that Google Authenticator, for example, uses. And if you ever look at a text from the Google texting app, if you use that, you'll see RCS on the subject line that is telling you that whatever you're sending is going to be encrypted, so long as the person on the other end of that text, that the phone on the other end, also is using an encrypted app that accepts RCS. If they're not, then it's sent unencrypted.
And I noticed that Meta in the Facebook app and the Messenger is now encrypting messages end to end. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is their way of maybe dealing with this kind of thing and making messaging via Facebook more secure.
Yeah, and they have been, despite the fact that sometimes Meta and in particular Facebook have some privacy issues, they have been really good about adopting encryption for all of their platforms, including messaging and WhatsApp and Instagram messaging. So if you use any of those, those are pretty secure, but then you're still subject to the other types of scams that happen through those
right.
apps. So you got to be careful about that. But this massive telecom breach that happened is still ongoing. It's still creating some havoc, as you can see. But hopefully, as we get into 2025, they'll be able to resolve it and get things safer again.
Great news there from Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group. Online, you'll find them at Alvarez. That's actually alvareztg.com. And then the X handle is at AlvarezTG. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-TEAM. That's 866-784-8326.
And if folks want to call the I-Team this week, what days are you guys off?
We're open every day except Christmas Day.
Okay.
But feel free to give us a call.
All righty. And on Christmas Eve, how late?
We are there till 6 p.m.
Till 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve. All right. So, folks, you can call for the I-Team and get your questions answered, or maybe make an appointment to have work done at your home or business in the new year. So that's one way to do it. And then, Luis, looking ahead to Monday, we have a really interesting conversation, and this has to do with avoiding a new PayPal scam that is out there.
Yeah, if you've been getting these requests via email for payment of overdue invoices, you want to tune in and learn how these could be a scam and how you can protect yourself against it.
All right, excellent. Luis, thank you so much. A very Merry Christmas to you and Ronnie and the rest of the family, and we'll chat again post-Christmas.
You too, my friend. Take care and enjoy your holidays.